Hi guys, I'm Ram Agarwal. You are watching my channel 52 Pixels. Let's get started. Hi guys, in yesterday's tutorial we saw how to make a mockup using a magazine cover. Now in today's tutorial we are going to see how to create a mockup of an image that looks like it is a frame and it's on top of a table or it's hanging on a wall, and it's kind of a mockup that looks real, and we are going to create the background as well this time. So as you can see, we have the wall, we have the table, we have the shadows, we have everything. So we are going to see how to do that now in Photoshop. So to start with, what we are going to do is just press Ctrl plus N to open a new document, or if you are on a starting screen you can just create a new document from that screen as well. Now I can just go to art and illustration. Here we have the option for poster. What I'm going to do is just orientate, I'll just change the orientation to landscape. Color is going to be white, it doesn't matter. Anyways, we are going to change the color. Now what I'm going to do is just go to file. Under file we have the option of place embedded that we saw yesterday as well. And here I'm just going to add the 3D, fake 3D file that we created in the previous tutorials. I'm just going to place it over here. I'll maybe just reduce the size somewhat like this. So now as you can see, I've got it placed in the center. I can just press enter and it is just going to get placed over there. Now what I'm going to do is just using this color as my foreground color. So I've set this color already, so I didn't have to worry much. This is my foreground color and I can just click on OK. What I can do is just go to background, press Ctrl plus backspace, and as you can see it is just going to apply the foreground color. I'll just press Ctrl plus Z once again. If I press Ctrl plus backspace, it is going to apply the background color, which is white in this case. But if I press Alt plus backspace, it is going to apply the color in the foreground. So as you can see, we have the color in the foreground. Now what we are going to do is we are going to add the table or the shape of the table, right? And to do that, what we are going to do is just tap on this one, select a shape that is the rectangle shape, and the fill is going to be a little darker color. So this is the color that we selected. So a lighter color is going to be in the background and the darker color is going to be in the foreground. So just like this, I'll draw a table. Not a table exactly, but that's the shape of a table. So I've drawn the shape, and as you can see, it has a slightly different shade or a slightly different color than the color of the background, just to make it a little contrast and to make it look like there is actually two different images or two different objects. Now I'll just drag it up. As you can see, I've just dragged it up a little bit so that I get a little part of my frame covered over here, so that I can add the shadows and all the stuff. Now make sure that nothing of these layers is selected, neither this or these or this. What we have to do is just make nothing selected. So just tap on this blank area. When nothing is selected, just go to the pen tool. So I hope you remember the pen tool when we used this one. So yours might be set to the curvature pen tool. Just long tap on that and go to the normal pen tool and the fill, and again that is going to be set at path option. So just go to shape because we want to create a shape, and fill it with black color because we are going to add shadows. So shadows are naturally of black color, right? So now that I want to add the shadows, I'll just quickly tap on this corner. Make sure that your corner is accurate because that's where your shadow is going to get started, and it shouldn't look very unnatural or something wrong with the shadow, right? And I'll just drag it till here. Drag, or you can just plot a second point depending on what your choice is. I just tapped over here one point and it has drawn a straight line till here. Now you must be wondering that my background is just till here, just the light blue one. So why did I drag it till the darker blue one? It's because these are separate layers and I can just separate that shadow from the foreground to the background so that it doesn't look bad and it fills up the object completely. So now as you can see, I've plotted the 3 points and it has been converted into a triangle which is filled with black color. I can just go to the move tool and I have my shadow. but as you can see, the shadow is covering both the main object as well as the table or the foreground, and that I don't want. So I can just drag the shape 1 and place it in between the foreground and the background. So now as you can see, it is just covering the background and it is behind the table and the main frame that we are going to work with, so that it looks natural. Now what I'm going to do is, it still doesn't look that natural, so just select the shape 1, go to filter, and I'm just going to blur it a little bit because shadows are not so sharp, they are a little blurred, and the blur increases gradually as the distance from the object increases. So that's simple physics. Now just go to blur gallery, and here I have the option called as iris blur. So it's saying that your object needs to be converted into a smart object, so I'll just tap on convert to smart object, and it has created me a smart object. So this is the iris blur, what you can say, the thing, I don't know what to call it. So anyways, this is how the interface looks like, and this is the main part. So this is the epicenter, you can say, and from here the blur is going to start. From here to here it is just going to be a little lighter blur, so it's not going to be very realizable, but a blur out of this, like from this region to this region, it is going to be a really strong blur, and from this and out it's just going to be a very sharp blur. So make sure that we want a gradual blur starting from here, then it is going to be blurry till here, and then it is going to be extremely blurry out after that, because that's how shadows work, and they don't have that, natural feel, you can say, because the part that is nearest to the object is the most, like it's the least blurred, and the object or the part of the shadow which is far away from the object is quite a lot of blurred. So make sure that you understand that part of physics, and then you can just simply work around with placing the points. So now as you can see, the blur is going to start from here, gradually it is going to be till here, and after that it is just going to be a very sharp or very blunt, you can say, actually not sharp, it is just going to be a blunt blur, and that's what I wanted. But I want to increase the intensity of the blur, so I can just use this circle and I can just drag it depending on my requirements. So I'll keep the blur at 42, and once done I can just click on OK, and it's just going to take some few seconds to apply the blur because it's a little software part, so it is just going to take time. But as you can see, the blur has been applied, so it is sharp over here at the corner, but by the time it reaches the ground it is just getting blurred, and it's getting more blurrier. So that's what I wanted. Now it is again not looking that natural because it's too dark, so I'll just click on the shape layer and I'll work on with the opacity. I guess I'll keep it around 35 to 40%. I guess 35 works well for this one. Now we have to add this second shadow, which is starting from here, and it is covering the table area. So again, make sure that nothing is selected. Go to the pen tool and plot one point over here. I'll just zoom in once again. So I'll plot one point over here, one point just at the tip of this object, or you can just work with this one. So it is going to be like this over here and over here. So as you can see, I've again plotted this 3-4 points, and it is getting filled with black color. I can again go to the move tool, and again, as you can see, it is just covering the background and the main object. So that's something that I don't want it. So I can just tap on the shape 2 and I can just drag it between the rectangle 1 and the main object. So now it has got rid of this object, but still it is covering the background. So to do that, we have something called as a clipping mask. So I can just tap on the shape 2, just right click, and here we have the option called as create a clipping mask. So I can just tap on this one, and as you can see, it has now given us a very good looking shadow over here. So now what I'm going to do is tap on that shape, go to filter, blur gallery, iris blur, convert to a smart object, and again just reduce the size to somewhat like this, which suits us the best. And make sure that this one is not going to be a strong blur because that's the nearest to the object according to physics again. So it is the nearest to the object, so it is going to be a little darker and it's going to be less blurry. So earlier we used 40 for the blur, now we are going to use 30 for the blur, or 31, that doesn't matter much. So once done, you can just click on OK and the blur is going to get applied. Just wait for 5 to 10 seconds, maybe we can wait for that time, and as you can see the blur is applied. Now again we have to work with the opacity, so tap on shape 2, and earlier the opacity was 35, so now the opacity should be ideally around 40 or 42. I'll make it 45. Let's see how this works. So as you can see, the shadow which is nearer to the object is a little darker, whereas the shadow away from the object is a little faint, and even in the case of blur it has already been understood. So now the final part, what we are going to do is just make this a frame, and making an object a frame is not a tough task. So just select fake 3D one, which is this one, and just go to this FX icon, go to stroke, and yours might be set by default to center, I guess. So just convert that position to inside, size any size that is suitable for you, but for me 70 is suitable, that is the default one. Opacity is going to be 100, color is going to be white, or if you want a black color shadow you can use not a shadow, I'm sorry, if you want a black color frame you can use that one as well, but I want to use white one. And once done, you can just click on OK. So now as you can see, I've got the frame, I've got the shadow, I've got the background and the foreground. Now I just want to make a little difference between the background and the foreground, because that should be a little obvious, right? So I can just create a new layer, and with this new layer I'm just going to put this new layer between the foreground and the background. So this is the foreground and this is the background. So with this layer one selected, go to the gradient tool, because we are going to add a gradient of shadow, and the color is going to be this one, which is black to white, and make sure that it is the linear gradient. And once you've chosen the right gradient, right color and the right type of gradient, you can just plot one point over here and drag it straight over here. So now as you can see, we have got a gradient as well, not a gradient actually, but we have got a different shadow which defines the colors over here and over here. So now this shadow is something that is just changing the colors, but that's what I wanted, because now it is making the difference that okay, that is the background, this is the foreground, this is the frame that is just kind of, it's on the wall and it has the shadows over here. So it looks very natural, it looks very decent, and when you want to show this mock-up to one of your clients, I bet they are going to be impressed, because this looks better than just showing them this file. So you know that this file looks good, but when you want to make a presentation out of it, it is just not going to be that impressive when compared to this one, or for that matter this one. It's the same thing. So well, that's it for today guys. If you found the video to be helpful, please like the video, and in case of any queries or suggestions, please feel free to reach out to me through the comments. With that being said, it's me Agarwal signing off for the day. See you in the next one. Thank you.